Now, this is the last thing that I like to discuss in the context of communication channels is something about let's say propagation in a communication channel. So, there are three main types of communication channels from the viewpoint of electromagnetic energy. One second. The first one is EM wave, electromagnetic wave communication, EM wave propagation channel. The example is free space channel, and the second one is guided EM wave propagation channel. And the third one is optical channels. These are elementary things we are not going to discuss in detail. Let us try to understand on the periphery. So, I am looking at types of communication channels from this point of view. Okay, like guided EM wave propagation, then EM wave propagation channel like in the free space channel. Okay. And optical channels. Again, my original point that I made sometime in the last lecture, that we are talking about electrical communication which happens because of the transmission of electromagnetic energy. Okay, so because of this transmission of electromagnetic energy only the electrical communication takes place. That electromagnetic energy may be carried in a pair of wires. Pair of copper wires. I am repeatedly telling this example. First one. The second one is through a cable, I mean a coaxial cable, and through free space or air also you can consider, and through fibers. So, you can characterize all these communication channels from the point of view of propagation also, how the electromagnetic energy is propagated, how the energy actually propagates in this various media. Now, what do I mean by that is primarily you can talk about three types of channels from this point of view. The first one is what I said, EM wave propagation channel. So, if you want a better name you could also call it free space channel. The second one is guided EM wave, this one, guided EM wave propagation channel, and the third one is really a subset of the second one, actually this one is, but still let us call it third type. Okay, but it is still worth having a third kind called optical channels. It appears as if it is just the same, but there is an important difference, okay, between the guided EM wave propagation channel and optical channel. Okay, free space propagation cannot occur on the earth. Okay, let us talk about free space propagation first. And this free space propagation cannot occur on the earth. Okay, now you can ask a question, why this free space propagation cannot occur on the earth? Okay, the statement itself gives the answer. Free space. So, you have the surface of the earth like this, and here there is a free space above the earth, but here below the earth there is no free space. Actually speaking, there is no free space in and around on the earth. Okay, so there is no free space actually. Okay, we are living on the earth, and in that surface of the earth there is no free space. So, the atmosphere looks like a free space to us, but it is not adjacent, but it is adjacent to the earth. So, there is a boundary here. there is a boundary. So truly speaking, anybody on the earth, you cannot have, true free space propagation. True propagation on the earth. Not possible. On the surface of the earth. But you can have true free space propagation in space, let's say far away from the earth, let's say some heavenly bodies, some thousands of miles. Okay, and between the 2 points away from the thousands of miles, let's say this is point A and this is point B. In between you can have free space propagation. You can have it, because in free space propagation that you might have learnt, basically the wave propagates through spherical wave fronts. Spherical wave fronts. Recall from your electromagnetic waves theory. Spherical wave fronts are simply not possible to support in any conductor. So the spherical wave fronts propagate only in the free space. Okay, and it will not propagate in a conductor or in any object, because which will disturb the wave fronts. So earth is very much approximated to every kind of situation, like you can approximate like a conductor. So okay, so free channel really exists only in the true free space. Approximately you can also have free space near in the neighborhood, provided make sure that you are more or less working above somewhere. Now again let me draw the earth. Not this much curvature, maybe I will draw like this, little flat. So this curve represents the earth. Okay, and let's say you have a transmitting antenna here, TX. You put one more antenna, receiving antenna. Okay, some receiving antennas elsewhere. Now, what are the various kinds of situations that are possible in terms of the way the propagation will occur between the transmitter and the receiver? Like one way is the wave will propagate along the ground like this, along the ground. For example, from the transmitter to the nearby receiver, the actual propagation path follows the curvature of the earth. So I think you might have done a course in EM waves, EM theory. So you know what happens when there is a medium which is bounded on one side by a conductor. So what kind of wave gets supported? Say there is some guided wave. So this ground wave is a guided wave in that sense, because it is guided by the surface of the earth. So this is called a ground wave. It is guided by the surface of the earth, hence it is called a guided wave. So this is a kind of guided wave. The conductor guides the wave along with it. And the next one is sky wave. Then we have something like a free space propagation, or sometimes called a sky wave. This is truly speaking free space wave or a sky wave. So if you are just transmitting up, that is you are transmitting away from the surface of the earth. Okay, so you are not transmitting like from this antenna to this antenna, you are transmitting up, okay, above from the surface of the earth, away from the surface of the earth. So for all practical purposes, it will look like more or less a free space propagation, because you are not transmitting along the curvature of the earth. You are transmitting above the surface of the earth. For example, let's say when you are communicating from an earth station to an aeroplane, the aeroplane is, let's say, somewhere here, airplane, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me point this point as a aeroplane. Okay, so communicating object is situated considerably above the surface of the earth, let's say some 1 or 2 kilometers above the surface of the earth. So for example, you are making a transmission to the satellite. As I said, the satellite is sitting around 36,000 kilometers. Your satellite is like this, okay. So if you are just transmitting away from the earth, that is above from the earth, then there is a slight difference between the sky wave and the ground wave. now suppose you want to communicate from this point to this point. It is a ground wave. So ground wave is good in that case, but ground waves will be supported in a fairly narrow frequency band. Will be supported in a narrow frequency band. It will not support high frequency. Typically lower frequency band, that is, especially you can say medium frequency. You can recall what is the medium frequency range. Okay, so let me go here. It is 0.32 3 megahertz. This is your medium frequency range. I mean 300 kilohertz to 3000 kilohertz. Generally your AM radio is working in that frequency range. As you go up higher in frequency, what will happen? The earth looks like a conductor and also has some problems, because when the frequency is more and more, then the skin effect will come into the picture, and the attenuation and things like that will come into the picture. So attenuation becomes so strong at higher frequencies if you move away from the medium frequency about 3 megahertz. So attenuation becomes significant. It is so strong at a high frequency, and the ground waves really cannot be used as the propagation mode for communication over large distance at a higher frequencies, because as you go up in frequency, the attenuation increases significantly. So therefore lower frequency is ideally suited for ground waves. If you go high frequency, then attenuation and skin effect will come. Beyond medium frequency, then skin effect, recall what we mean by skin effect from your EM waves, then attenuation will be significant. Okay. So ground wave is really typically useful for lower frequencies or higher wavelength. When I say lower frequency, it means higher wavelength. And then when I say higher frequency, then it indicates lower wavelength. Okay. So when you go to the higher frequencies, this ground wave is not very useful. Okay. But however, this kind of thing is possible. Suppose this is satellite and this is your earth station. In between we can use a higher frequency, not a problem. Okay, so this kind of thing is possible. straight line propagation. This is called a straight line propagation. Okay. Now let me draw one more figure and let us try to understand something. I have one transmitting antenna, then here also I have one more transmitting antenna. I put one more receiving antenna. These two are receiving antennas. Okay, let's say you have two height towers, tower 1 and tower 2 on the surface of the earth. Okay, and they can see each other, but this guy cannot see this guy. You can see it goes like this. You cannot see because of the curvature nature of the earth. So whenever they can see each other, then there is a line between these two guys. See, our sight is always in straight line, right? So this is called a line of sight. In short, people called LOS communication. Okay, so something called a straight line propagation. Straight line communication or propagation or whatever it is. Possible at a higher frequency. So this is possible only at a higher frequencies. Because ground wave is not possible at higher frequencies because it is attenuated heavily by the surface of the earth. This is the surface, right? The surface will attenuate the wave very significantly. So therefore you cannot have higher frequency communication in the ground. So increase the tower as high as possible, and therefore it you can communicate. So therefore higher frequency there we use a straight line of sight propagation is possible. Okay. Now if you want to work with at a higher frequency, then there is a limitation as to how much distance you can communicate. Suppose I draw one more figure. See, the earth is like this. You put an antenna and then you can put antenna like this. You can see up to this point. Suppose I want to communicate in this point earth, then you have to put the antenna this much height. Then only the line of sight communication is possible. Then you can see the antenna. So this height will be a few kilometers. You cannot put it. It's not practically possible. It is impossible to have very high tower antenna. A few kilometer height is needed to cover from this point to this point using line of sight. Of course, line of sight communication is possible, but you have to increase the antenna tower height, not antenna tower height significantly in terms of few kilometers. It's the antenna tower should be very, very tall, otherwise you cannot have line of sight communication. So there is a problem. So in this situation, how will you do the communication? Because the propagation will have to be a straight line, propagation or line of sight propagation. Because of the curvature, earth curvature, there is a certain distance beyond which you cannot see. If the antenna height is this much, then you cannot see this height, this antenna. Okay, so you cannot see beyond certain distance. Depending on the height of the antenna here in this point, okay, maybe you can go up to this point. Beyond that you cannot go. If you go, then what happens? There is a tangent. So you will go up to here, up to this point, and you cannot go to the y point, but you can go up to x point. So after the x point, then you cannot see the antenna at this y point, because let's say this point is y. So what do I do in such a case? How can I communicate? So if you want to carry out high frequency communications between two largely remote stations very far away, then how will you do the communication? You will need somebody else to come into the picture in between you and that guy. So your antenna is here, and here I cannot increase the antenna to the very tall height. So there is a tangent. Beyond that, the signal will be attenuated. I cannot reach this point. So somebody else has to come here. So you transmit the signal and reach the point and it gets reflected, so that there is a possibility to cover the remote locations. Okay. So therefore you will transmit the wave up, and the wave gets reflected back. Okay. So you transmit it up, you put some reflector here. That reflection can happens in two ways, either passive way or active way. Okay. One is you can do it by satellite, and another one is through a passive reflector. Okay. So the passive reflector is, the best example is ionosphere. Okay. So through an effect that is present above the surface of the earth. Okay. So above the surface of the earth there is a layer of charged particles, and these charged particles are there somewhere a few kilometers above the surface of the earth, which is called ionosphere. Okay. So this is my ionosphere transmitting antenna. The wave goes and bends back and reaches my receiving antenna. So this is the ionosphere. So if a wave is sent up, it will get bent like that. Actual propagation will looks like this. Of course, it is not a straight line, but it is a curvature. It is bent and comes back, because there is a refraction taking place at the ionosphere itself. This refraction is due to the presence of ionosphere. So ionosphere is a very nice natural phenomenon which helps us to carry out long distance propagation at higher frequencies. Now this is useful at higher frequencies. Now one can ask a question: how much higher? Okay, and this ionosphere will not support all higher frequencies. It may support up to 30 megahertz or 32 or 35 megahertz. Beyond that, the ionosphere will not reflect the signals. Okay. So if your frequencies are still higher, the wave will skip the ionosphere. It will escape from the ionosphere. They will go out of the earth. Okay, they will pass the ionosphere and it will go out. They will never come back. Okay, so that is a problem. So you will not see the wave again. Okay, so you have to use some other means. So how do you do that? So you have this earth, you put a satellite here above 30 megahertz, then you cannot get the benefit from the ionosphere. So in that case, what you do? Use a satellite. Okay, so this mode of propagation is useful. This ionosphere is useful only for below 30 megahertz. So if you are trying to communicate, above 30 megahertz frequency, then the ionosphere does not help us at all. And the only way we can have is by having an active reflector or a passive reflector much above the surface of the earth, so that the wave can go through the ionosphere and then it reaches the satellite, okay, and reflected back. It goes all the way and reflected back by it, or retransmitted back by it. Sometimes the satellite simply reflects or it retransmits. Reflect means passive satellite. That means it acts like a mirror. It will not amplify the signal, it will not do any processing the signal, simply it receives the signal and again transmits, reflects, that's all. Okay, but retransmit means you do the re-amplification, remove the noise to a certain extent, all the signal processing will happens and then again transmit with some other frequency, downlink frequency, uplink frequency and downlink frequency. These are certain things which are beyond the scope of content that we are discussing now. Probably you will be studying these things in a separate course called satellite communication. Okay. So if it is reflected back, we call it passive satellite, and if it is retransmitted back, then we call it active satellite. This is satellite. So this is the overview of the first two kinds of channels. Okay, guided channels. Okay, free space channel. But more importantly, amongst guided wave propagation, you can also have guided wave channels. Okay, that is free space Gaia EM wave propagation. Then let us talk about guided wave channels. Okay, like you also have every kind of communication that takes place through cables or pairs of wires. Normally you look upon your cable or a pair of wires as if they are carrying current and but we talk about voltages and currents. But basically we are transmitting electromagnetic waves. Okay, still we think like the voltage and currents carrying the energy, but we always in turn talk in terms of electromagnetic waves carrying the energy. Depending on whether you are working at a lower frequency or a higher frequency, you can treat them as a lumped circuit representation or distributed circuit representation. That's it. So you have to work with them in terms of EM wave propagation. If they become EM wave propagation, if the frequency is very high. So if they become transmission lines, we do not call them just circuits anymore. So the lumped circuit parameter model will not be valid anymore. A pair of wires may look like a current, look like a circuit only at lower frequencies. Okay, the circuit components, Thevenin's theorem, superposition theorem, voltage law, Kirchhoff's law, Kirchhoff's voltage law, current law, everything is valid only at lower frequencies. Okay, where the size of the wires and the components are much smaller than the wavelength. If your size of the transmission line becomes much larger than the wavelength, then no longer you can talk in terms of lumped circuit models for them. You have to think of them as a means of propagating electromagnetic energy. So the way you study these same things is not the same theory, but through transmission line theory. Okay, so there we will use transmission line theory. We will not use circuit theory. Okay, transmission line theory that we will employ here. Okay, next let me talk about waveguides, which can also be used as a guided wave channels. This is what waveguides. Waveguides are essential, essentially either cylindrical in shape like this, or rectangle in shape. No, I am drawing this diagram very badly. Okay, so rectangular in shape. Okay, so these waveguides are used to connect your transmitter and the antenna. If you go to the countryside, you can see the satellite towers are sprouted out. You can have an antenna. Okay, and here somewhere sitting your transmitter. The transmitter is connected to the antenna via something called guided waveguides. Okay, so these waveguides can be in rectangular shape or cylindrical shape, I mean the cross section is circle, or elliptical also used in certain applications. So now to get the energy from the transmitter to the receiver, we use a waveguide. Actually it is a pipe, actually copper pipe, nothing else. Literally it is a copper pipe. The copper pipe is either a cylindrical pipe or a rectangular pipe. So that is again guided waves. So the waves which are propagating through the copper pipe is called guided waves. Finally, let us move on to optical channels. And of course, this is a very vast and wide topic. Probably you will be studying this course in the higher semester called optical communication or optical networks. I will give a little flavor about this. Okay, so this is optical channel. You can have two kinds of optical channels. One is fiber optic channel in a closed environment like silicon glass, and the another one is free space optical channels. Okay, so but really speaking, the optical fiber communication is included as a waveguide. It is cylindrical in shape. So inside again you have one more cylindrical shape. This is called core, and this one is called cladding, and the propagation takes place through some mechanism called total internal reflection. Total internal reflection. And the actual propagation mechanisms are exactly the same. Okay, a free space then a free space optical communication is like a free space EM energy, except that you look at you like to focus the energy in a very narrow beam so that it goes from point A to point B. So the beam is very narrow beam. You will not transmit the energy over wide range or wide angle. So you will concentrate only in very narrow spot. Like instead of transmitting like this, you will transmit like this, very narrow beam. So this is narrow beam, and this is wide beam. Probably you will study these things in your antenna course, so that it goes from point A to point B. So that's a very commonly used that is very commonly used in free space probes, okay, that we send up. But it is also used for many terrestrial applications today, from building to building in a college or in a company or in a software industry. There people use free space optical communication. Instead of running the LAN cable, then you can use free space optics communication. Okay, so I think with this I will conclude this talk on communication channels. Okay, thank you very much.